The Corpus Hermeticum, Chapter 3, the Sacred Sermon 1. The glory of all things is God, Godhead and godly nature. Source of the things that are is God, who is both mind and nature, yea matter, the wisdom that reveals all things. Source too is Godhead, yea, nature, energy, necessity, and end, and making new again. Darkness that knew no bounds was in abyss, and water high too, and subtle breath intelligent. These were by power of God in chaos. Then holy light arose, and there collected neath dry space, literally, sand, from out moist essence elements, and all the gods do separate things out from fecund nature. 2. All things being undefined and yet unwrought, the light things were assigned unto the height. The heavy ones had their foundations laid down underneath the moist part of dry space, the universal things being bounded off by fire and hanged in breath to keep them up. And heaven was seen in 7 circles, its gods were visible in forms of stars with all their signs, while nature had her members made articulate together with the gods in her. And heaven's periphery revolved in cyclic course, borne on by breath of God. 3. And every god by his own proper power brought forth what was appointed him. Thus there arose 4-footed beasts, and creeping things, and those that in the water dwell, and things with wings, and everything that beareth seed, and grass, and shoot of every flower, all having in themselves seed of again, becoming. And they selected out the births of men for gnosis of the works of God and attestation of the energy of nature, the multitude of men for lordship over all beneath the heaven and gnosis of its blessings, that they might increase in increasing and multiply in multitude, and every soul inflished by revolution of the cyclic gods, for observation of the marvels of heaven and heaven's gods' revolution, and of the works of God and energy of nature, for tokens of its blessings, for gnosis of the power of God, that they might know the fates that follow good and evil deeds, and learn the cunning work of all good arts. 4. Thus there begins their living and their growing wise, according to the fate appointed by the revolution of the cyclic gods, and their deceasing for this end. And there shall be memorials mighty of their handiworks upon the earth, leaving dim trace behind when cycles are renewed. For every birth of flesh ensouled, and of the fruit of seed, and every handiwork, though it decay, shall of necessity renew itself, both by the renovation of the gods and by the turning round of nature's rhythmic wheel. For that, whereas the Godhead is nature's ever, making new again the cosmic mixture, nature herself is also established in that Godhead. The Corpus Hermeticum, Chapter 4. The Cup or Monad 1. Hermes, with reason logos, not with hands, did the world maker make the universal world, so that thou shouldst think of him as everywhere and ever being, the author of all things, and one and only, who by his will all beings hath created. This body of him is a thing no man can touch, or see, or measure, a body inextensible, like to no other frame. 'Tis neither fire nor water, air nor breath, yet all of them come from it. Now being good, he willed to consecrate this body to himself alone, and set its earth in order and adorn it. 2. So down to earth he sent the cosmos of this frame divine, man, a life that cannot die, and yet a life that dies. And oh, high all other lives, and over cosmos too, did man excel by reason of the reason, logos, and the mind. For contemplator of God's works did man become, he marveled and did strive to know their author. 3. Reason logos indeed, O tat, among all men hath he distributed, but mind not yet, not that he grudgeth any, for grudging cometh not from him, but hath its place below, within the souls of men who have no mind. Tat, why then did God, O Father, not on all bestow a share of mind? He willed, my son, to have it set up in the midst for souls, just as it were a prize for. And where hath he set it up? He filled a mighty cup with it, and sent it down, joining a herald hive to it, to whom he gave command to make this proclamation to the hearts of men baptize thyself with this cup's baptism. What heart can do so? Thou that hast faith, thou canst ascend to him that hath sent down the cup. Thou that dost know for what thou didst come into being. As many then as understood the herald's tidings and dowsed themselves in mind, became partakers in the gnosis, and when they had received the mind, they were made perfect men. But they who do not understand the tidings, these, since they possess the aid of reason high only, and not mind, are ignorant wherefore they have come into being, and whereby. 5. The senses of such men are like irrational creatures, and as their whole make-up is in their feelings and their impulses, they fail in all appreciation of lit. They do not wonder at those things which really are worth contemplation. These center all their thought upon the pleasures of the body and its appetites, in the belief that for its sake man hath come into being. But they who have received some portion of God's gift, these, tat, if we judge by their deeds, have from death's bonds won their release, for they embrace in their own mind all things, things on the earth, things in the heaven, and things above the heaven, if there be aught, and having raised themselves so far they sight the good, and having sighted it, they look upon their sojourn here as a mischance, and in disdain of all, both things in body and the bodiless, they speed their way unto that one and only one. 6. This is Otat, the gnosis of the mind, vision of things divine. God knowledge is it, for the cup is God's. T. Father, I, too, would be baptized. Unless thou first shall hate thy body, son, thou canst not love thyself. But if thou lovest thyself, thou shalt have mind, and having mind thou shalt share in the gnosis. T. Father, what dost thou mean? It is not possible, my son, to give thyself to both, I mean to things that perish and to things divine. For seeing that existing things are twain, body and bodiless, in which the perishing and the divine are understood, the man who hath the will to choose is left the choice of one or the other, for it can never be the tween should meet. And in those souls to whom the choice is left, the waning of the one causes the other's growth to show itself. 7. Now the choosing of the better not only proves a lot most fair for him who makes the choice, seeing it makes the man a god, but also shows his piety to God. Whereas the hate choosing of the worse, although it doth destroy the man, it doth only disturb God's harmony to this extent, that as processions pass by in the middle of the way, without being able to do anything but take the road from others, so do such men move in procession through the world led by their bodies' pleasures. 8. This being so, O Tat, what comes from God hath been and will be ours, but that which is dependent on ourselves. Let this press onward and have no delay, for 'tis not God, 'tis we who are the cause of evil things, preferring them to good. Thou seest, son, how many are the bodies through which we have to pass, how many are the choirs of daemons, how vast the system of the star courses high through which our path doth lie, to hasten to the one and only God. For to the good there is no other shore, it hath no bounds, it is without an end, and for itself it is, without beginning too, though unto us it seemeth to have one, the gnosis 9. Therefore to it gnosis is no beginning, rather is it that gnosis doth afford to us the first beginning of its being known. Let us lay hold, therefore, of the beginning, and quickly speed through all we have to pass, which is very hard to leave the things we have grown used to, which meet our gaze on every side, and turn ourselves back to the older path. Appearances delight us, whereas things which appear not make their believing hard. Now evils are the more apparent things, whereas the good can never show itself unto the eyes, for it hath neither form nor figure. Therefore the good is like itself alone, and unlike all things else, or 'tis impossible that that which hath no body should make itself apparent to a body. 10. The likes, superiority to the unlike, and the likes, inferiority unto the like, consists in this: the oneness being source and root of all, is in all things as root and source. Without this source is naught, whereas the source itself is from naught but itself, since it is source of all the rest. It is itself its source, since it may have no other source. The oneness then being source, containeth every number, but is contained by none, engendereth every number, but is engendered by no other one. 11. Now all that is engendered is imperfect. It is divisible to increase subject and to decrease, but with the perfect one none of these things doth hold. Now that which is increasable increases from the oneness, but succumbs through its own feebleness when it no longer can contain the one. And now, O Tat, God's image hath been sketched for thee, as far as it can be, and if thou wilt attentively dwell on it, and observe it with thine heart's eyes, believe me, son, thou'lt find the path that leads above, nay, that image shall become thy guide itself, because the sight hard divine hath this peculiar charm, it holdeth fast and draweth unto it those who succeed in opening their eyes, just as, they say, the magnet draweth iron. The Corpus Hermeticum, chapter 5, though unmanifest God is most manifest one, I will recount to thee this sermon Logos 2, O Tat, that thou mayst cease to be without the mysteries of the God beyond all name. And mark thou well how that which to the many seems unmanifest will grow most manifest for thee. Now were it manifest, it would not be. For all that is made manifest is subject to becoming, for it hath been made manifest. But the unmanifest forever is, for it doth not desire to be made manifest. It ever is, and maketh manifest all other things. Being himself unmanifest, as ever being and ever making manifest, himself is not made manifest. God is not made himself by thinking manifest, i.e., thinking into manifestation. He thinketh all things manifest. Now thinking manifest deals with things made alone, for thinking manifest is nothing else than making. 2. He then alone who is not made, 'tis clear, is both beyond all power of thinking manifest, and is unmanifest. And as he thinketh all things manifest, he manifests through all things and in all, and most of all in whatsoever things he wills to manifest. Do thou then, Tat, my son, pray first unto our Lord and Father, the one and only one, from whom the one doth come, to show his mercy unto thee, in order that thou mayest have the power to catch a thought of this so mighty God, one single beam of him to shine into thy thinking. For thought alone sees the unmanifest, in that it is itself unmanifest. If then thou hast the power, he will Tat manifest to thy mind's eyes. The Lord begrudgeth not himself to anything, but manifests himself through the whole world. Thou hast the power of taking thought, of seeing it and grasping it in thy own hands, and gazing face to face upon God's image. But if what is within thee even is unmanifest to thee, how then shall he himself who is within thyself be manifest for thee by means of high outer eyes? 3. But if thou wouldst see him, bethink thee of the sun, bethink thee of moon's course, bethink thee of the order of the stars. Who is the one who watcheth o' that order? For every order hath its boundaries marked out by place and number. The sun's the greatest god of gods in heaven, to whom all of the heavenly gods give place as unto king and master. And he, this so great one, he greater than the earth and sea, endures to have above him circling smaller stars than him. Out of respect to whom, or out of fear of whom, my son, how doth he do this? Nor like nor equal is the course each of these stars describes in heaven. Who hey then is he who marketh out the manner of their course and its extent? 4. The bear up there that turneth round itself, and carries round the whole cosmos with it. Who is the owner of this instrument? Who he who hath set round the sea its bounds? Who he who hath set on its seat the earth? For Tat, there is someone who is the maker and the Lord of all these things. It can not be that number. Place and measure could be kept without someone to make them. No order whatsoever could be made by that which lacketh place and lacketh measure. Nay, even this is not without a Lord, my son. For if the orderless lacks something, in that it is not Lord of order's path, it also is beneath a Lord, the one who hath not yet ordained it order. 5. Would that it were possible for thee to get thee wings, and soar into the air, and poised midway tween earth and heaven, behold the earth's solidity, the sea's fluidity, the flowings of its streams, the spaciousness of air, fire's swiftness, hey impede the coursing of the stars, the swiftness of heaven's circuit round them. High all, most blessed sight were it, my son, to see all these beneath one sway, the motionless in motion, and the unmanifest made manifest, whereby is made this order of the cosmos, and the cosmos which we see of order. 6. If thou wouldst see him too through things that suffer death, both on the earth and in the deep, think of a man's being fashioned in the womb, my son, and strictly scrutinize the art of him who fashions him, and learn who fashioneth this fair and godly image of the man. Who high then is he who traceth out the circles of the eyes, who he who boreth out the nostrils and the ears, who he who openeth hard the portal of the mouth, who he who doth stretch out and tie the nerves, who he who channels out the veins, who he who hardeneth the bones, who he who covereth the flesh with skin, who he who separates the fingers and the joints, who he who widens out a trading for the feet, who he who diggeth out the ducts, who he who spreadeth out the spleen, who he who shapeth heart like to a pyramid, who he who setteth ribs together, who he who wideneth the liver out, who he who maketh lungs like to a sponge, who he who maketh belly stretch so much, who he who doth make prominent the parts most honorable, so that they may be seen, while hiding out of sight those of least honor. 7. Behold how many arts are employed on one material, how many labors on one single sketch, and all exceeding fair, and all in perfect measure, yet all diversified. Who made them all? What mother, or what sire, save God alone unmanifest, who hath made all things by his will? 8. And no one saith a statue or a picture comes to be without a sculptor, or high without a painter. Doth then such workmanship as this exist without a worker? What depth of blindness, what deep impiety, what depth of ignorance! See then, though near sun Tat deprivest works of worker. Nay, rather is he greater than all names, so great is he, the father of them all. For verily he is the only one, and this is his work, to be a father 9. So, if thou forcest me somewhat too bold to speak, his being is conceiving of all things and making high them. And as without its maker it is impossible that anything should be, so ever is he not unless he ever makes all things in heaven, in air, in earth, in deep, in all of cosmos, in every part that is, and that is not of everything. For there is naught in all the world that is not he. He is himself, both things that are and things that are not. The things that are he hath made manifest. He keepeth things that are not in himself. 10. He is the God beyond all name, he the unmanifest, he the most manifest, he whom the mind high alone can contemplate. He visible to the eyes higher as well, he is the one of no body, the one of many bodies, nay, rather he of every body. Naught is there which he is not. For all are he, and he is all, and for this cause hath he all names, in that they are one Father's. And for this cause hath he himself no nome, in that he's father of them all. Who, then, may sing thee praise of thee, or praise to thee? Whither again am I to turn my eyes to sing thy praise above, below, within, without? There is no way, no place high is there about thee, nor any other thing of things that are. All hair in thee, all hair are from thee, O thou who givest all and takest naught, for thou hast all and naught is there thou hast not. 11. And when, O Father, shall I hymn thee? For none can seize thy hour or time. For what again shall I sing hymn? For things that thou hast made, or things thou hast not, for things thou hast made manifest, or things thou hast concealed. How, further, shall I hymn thee? As being of myself, as having something of mine own, as being other, for that thou art whatever I may be, thou art whatever I may do, thou art whatever I may speak. For thou art all, and there is nothing else which thou art not, and thou art all that which doth exist, and thou art what doth not exist, mind when thou thinkest, and Father when thou makest, and God when thou dost energize, and good and maker of all things. For that the subtler part of matter is the air, of air the soul, of soul the mind, and of mind God,